Welcome back to Root and Restore, an Ayurvedic way of life. My name is Chloe and I am so grateful you are here. Before we begin, let's arrive together, wherever you are, in the car, on a walk, washing dishes, or finally sitting still. Let's take a moment to land in this body, in this breath. Take a nice long, slow inhale in through the nose. Hold gently at the top and let it go through the mouth longer than it came in. One more like that. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 2, 1, 2. Exhale for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let your shoulders drop from your ears. Let your jaw soften. You're here now. That's all we need. So I apologize on not having podcasts out for the last 2 Mondays. I've been sitting and thinking about this one, and it took me a few minutes to really think deep about what my heart is feeling about this topic. So I want to be honest with you all about something before we get started in today's episode, because I honestly think it's the whole point of what we're about to talk about today. So this episode is late, and like I said, it's late because of a conversation I had recently that sat with me in a way that I didn't expect. And I didn't want to come to you all unprocessed. I wanted to come settled and not reactive. So here's a little of the backstory. I received a text message from someone doing a beautiful deep dive into the Yamas and Niyamas for their own studies. And they asked me if I was using AI to advertise for my upcoming retreat in September. And I said yes. And they told me that it doesn't align with them and they have to sit and think about whether they are going to choose to come on the retreat or not. To them, using AI is himsa, it is harm to the environment, harm to something sacred. And so for the last week and a half, almost 2 weeks, I've been sitting with this, contemplating it. Not defensively, but genuinely. Because I take the Yamas and Niyamas very seriously too. They are the architecture of how I try to live. So I didn't want to just react and say, well, I disagree. I wanted to actually walk through them one by one, honestly with myself, and see where I land. And that's what today's episode is. I'm going to try to bring you into that whole process with me. So for those of you that don't know what the Yamas and Niyamas are, the Yamas are 5 ethical restraints in yogic philosophy, describing how we relate to the world around us. And the Niyamas are the 5 observances, describing how we relate to ourselves. They were never meant to be a checklist we perform for each other. They were meant to be mirrors, something we hold up to for our own choices again and again in an ever-changing life. So here I am, about to hold the mirror up to this one. Let's begin with ahimsa, non-harming. Ahimsa, the practice of non-violence, non-harm in thought, word, and action toward all beings. This one is the one that started the whole conversation. Is using AI harmful? I won't pretend the answer is simple. And I won't pretend that the answer is simply no. Data centers use energy and water, and that is real, and I'm not here to dismiss it or greenwash it for you. But I also won't pretend that harm lives in one technology alone while the rest of modern life gets a pass. I drive a car to see my clients. Cars burn fossil fuels every single day, and most of us don't examine that daily. The food most of us eat, even food marketed as healthy, has been sprayed with chemicals that run off into the soil and water. Our phones, our Wi-Fi, our 5G towers, our laptops, the very device that you're listening to this podcast on right now, all of it, it draws from the same grid, the same rare earth material, the same extraction. And I'm not saying that to excuse anything. I'm saying it because ahimsa practiced with integrity has to be practiced evenly, or it isn't ahimsa. It's selective judgment wearing yogic language. If I'm going to sit with the harm of AI, I also have to sit with the harm of my car, my phone, my grocery cart. And when I do that honestly, I don't find a clean villain. I find a modern life that is entangled, imperfect, and asking for discernment, not a single scapegoat. Satya, truthfulness, alignment between our inner reality and our outer expression. So, let me tell you my truth. I use AI as a tool, the way I use my laptop, a calendar, a good pair of scissors for cutting herbs. I write it in my own words, my own stories, my own voice, the things I've lived. And then I ask it to check my grammar and my spelling, the way that I might have once asked a friend or an editor. My words are still mine. Asteya, non-stealing. Not taking what isn't freely given, including time, credit, or energy. I sat with this one. It made me think about something different. Not stealing from others, but stealing from myself. For years and years, I stole my own time. Hours upon hours rewriting the same blog post, the same email, the same social caption. Taking time away from my meditation cushion, my garden, my family, my own svadhyaya. If anything has been stolen in this story, it was my own hours, and I'm one who's finally giving them back to myself. Brahmacharya, the right use of energy. Traditionally translated as celibacy, more broadly understood as the wise, non-wasteful use of one's vital energy. This is really the heart of it for me. Where is my energy going? Before so much of my life force went into the mechanics of running a small business, the endless drafting, redrafting, second-guessing every sentence. Now that energy is freed up. It goes into my meditation practice. It goes into my time in nature. It goes into my relationships, my family, my friends, my studies. That's not a small shift. That's brahmacharya in practice. Energy redirected toward what actually nourishes. Aparigraha, non-attachment, non-hoarding. Non-greed, non-attachment. Taking only what is needed and not grasping or hoarding. And I think this is where I gently offer something back into the conversation. Aparigraha asks us to look at attachment. Are we clinging? Are we dependent? Are we hoarding something beyond our need? And when I'm honest with myself, I'm not addicted to AI. I don't reach for it out of compulsion or fear. I use it the way I use any tool, for a specific task, and then I set it down and I go live my life. Often a much more present, less tethered life than I had before. If anything, it has loosened my grip on the old pattern of overworking, which was its own kind of parigraha, a hoarding of stress, of busyness, of the belief that I had to do everything the hard way to be worthy. Now let's move on to the Niyamas, how we relate to others. Saucha, that purity, cleanliness of the body and the environment. For me, a clean mind isn't one that's never touched technology. It's one that isn't cluttered with 3 unfinished blog posts, a backlog of emails, and a low static hum of never catching up. My mind has never felt cleaner, not murkier, since I let go of some of that labor. Santosha, contentment, the practice of peace with what is, rather than constant striving. This one is quiet but important. I'm content, genuinely, not because I found a perfect answer to every ethical question technology raises. I definitely haven't, and I don't think anyone has, but because I found a way of working that lets me be present with my life instead of always racing behind it. Tapas, the disciplined, purifying effort or heat that burns away what no longer serves. Sitting with this conversation for days instead of reacting, that was tapas. It would have been easier to get defensive or to get quiet and let it go unspoken. The disciplined thing was to actually examine it against my own values out loud with you. Svadhyaya, that self-study, the practice of turning inward to know oneself more deeply, including through sacred texts and reflection. This is maybe my favorite thread in this whole episode. The very time this conversation is asking me to protect. My time away from constant content making is the time I've spent going deeper into my studies, deeper into Ayurveda, deeper into the texts, deeper into myself. That depth of showing up in these episodes. If anything, I think I am bringing you a wiser version of me than the one who used to be buried in draft after draft. Ishvara Pranidhana, surrender to something greater, surrender of the ego and one's actions to seem greater than oneself. I don't know exactly where AI technology or any of this is going. None of us do. What I can do is release my grip on needing to have a perfect, permanent answer, and trust that as I keep studying, keep listening to my body, keep coming back to my breath, I'll keep recalibrating with integrity. Ayurveda doesn't ask us to eliminate the modern world. It asks us to relate to it wisely. Agni, our digestive fire, physical and metaphorical, our capacity to metabolize what comes in, food, experience, information. Ama, the residue of what we couldn't fully digest, toxicity, physical or mental. Ojas, our vital reserve, our resilience, the sweetness and stability at the root of our health. Manovaha Shrotas, the subtle channels through which thought and emotion flow, the mind-gut connection. When I was spending every waking hour on client work, then social media, then the website, then emails, my Agni had nothing left to digest with. I was making ama, mental residue, undigested stress, instead of ojas. My Manovaha Shrotas was clogged with tabs, notifications, and half-finished thoughts. Reclaiming hours for meditation, for nature, for my dinacharya, my daily rhythm, has let my Agni come back online. My nervous system isn't in a constant low simmer of overwhelm. That is not a small thing. That is arguably the entire point of this path. Where I've landed. I don't think everyone needs to agree with me, and I mean that with real tenderness, not as a closing line to the end of an argument. The person I spoke with is walking their own sincere path with the Yamas and Niyamas, and I respect that fully. We're allowed to walk this differently and still both be walking it honestly. For me, right now, in this season, AI is a tool I pick up and set down. It is not my master, and I am not its. What I've gained back is time, with my breath, my studies, my land, my people, and I think that's worth naming, gently, without needing anyone else to agree with me for it, or for it to be true. If you use AI, don't use AI, or are somewhere in between, I'd love to hear where you land. This is a conversation, not a verdict. Thank you for sitting with me on this one. I know it was a little different, a little more personal, and I'm grateful you gave me the space it needed. Keep living in rhythm and not resistance. This is Root and Restore. Namaste.